Good evening, everyone. It's Andy Glenn here from Sharks TV, joined post-match by Solway Sharks head coach, Mr. Martin Grubb. Martin, 8 minutes to go. Were you thinking about a point?
Do you know what? At the end of the second period, I said to them that the game was still there for them. It was 3 shots. I thought first period, I really liked our first period in terms of our energy levels, our creation of chances. Of course, you would like to have been a little bit more prolific. Levine kept him in it, and that's his job. But I think in terms of the first period, it's maybe one of the better first periods we've had all year in our general play without scoring a goal. Second period, we switched off a couple of times, and we get behind the 8 ball. But yeah, we genuinely thought at the end of the second period that if we can get the first one, which is always going to be key at that stage, that there was a chance. Obviously, the closer it starts ticking down towards 0, you start to throw a wee bit more at it. You start to maybe make some decisions you might not have made before. But we're still, even when we called the timeout and we were getting ready to pull Marzi, we still thought, I say that to Marzi, like, let's just play off the one face-off and see what happens. And obviously we've managed to score. And then, it's unfortunate in the end. It's frustrating now that Yanni tries to, off the first play, he tries to score, where they come back in the 3-on-1. We kind of get caught on the ice a wee bit too long. And then it's a good shot in the end that goes bar down on Marzi. And there's, yet again, the frustration as we're standing here talking about a point rather than what, in my opinion, could have been 2 and could have maybe been us starting on the power play if I've got to see it back. But for the bench, it looked, for everyone in the world, that Spearsy had been tripped right on the death. You start in the power play in overtime and who knows what happens.
Well, I think you're right. First period, I spoke to some fans just in the break of the stream. They were all loving the play, couldn't quite believe we hadn't scored. It was just one of those games. That first goal, though, that they scored, it changed the balance of play. Lackinen scored that, and then Dillon scored another 2 after that. Did you feel like the heads went down a bit?
I think we got frustrated. I don't think they went down, but they certainly started to get a little bit frustrated. What we talked about at the end of the second was too many guys then, from a good place, but too many guys start to put the team on their back and think that they can get us out of a little bit of a hole, and then that creates bad decisions and lack of support. And the frustrating thing at the end of that second period, 3-0 down, was we were the masters of our own downfall at that situation. I think we could have stopped all 3 of these goals because we kind of look back on them and some of them are just basic errors, and we got punished for that. We've not punished them. But at no point, I think the credit to the players, at no point did the heads go down. They showed their character right there. With less than 2 minutes to go, they get that equalising goal, and they've still got the character to go and try and win the game. Even in overtime, I would have liked us to have maybe had more possession right off the draw, but I've got to give them credit for trying to win the game. And I think the biggest feeling right now is just that bit of frustration that I don't think we played all that bad. We weren't prolific enough. We were a bit too peripheral, and it showed in the third period. When we simplified and got to the net and got to the kind of gritty, ugly areas, we got success. We need to do that for 60 rather than 20.
When I was commentating the game, I was kind of remembering what you'd said when you're usually in a lead and you're in the last period, you're holding on, you're break it down into 5-minute periods, and the first 10 minutes had went and we still hadn't scored, and we hadn't really looked like scoring. We get 1, we get 2, and then your timeout that led to the third goal. What did you say in the timeout?
Well, we just drew a set play. We drew 2 plays. We drew 1 off the draw, and the boys knew that they had to go to the net, and then we drew 1 when if Marzi was coming, and how we're going to set that up and play. But to be fair, the credit goes to the players there, because they had to win the puck. They had to get it back to the point. They had to go to the net in dirty areas, and obviously Jordan's went there for Bolts' shots, a really good tip-in. So they deserve the credit for battling. And I've obviously set little things that I wanted them to do, but they've went out and executed that. The frustration, as I say, is that we could do that in the first and second period as well as that last kind of 5 minutes.
Well, it was interesting that you put Carter on and took off a defender for that one, just had Jake on. At that point, you just kind of felt like we might go on and sneak it. It was like 3 unanswered goals, then 3 unanswered goals, and the momentum was really with us. But you've got to give credit to Peterborough coming out and taking that point at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you say, that the ice had kind of tilted and it probably finished too early. once we score to go 3-3, you probably want a little bit, maybe an extra minute or two to see if we can tilt the ice in our favour. As I say, I guess the credit on one side, but maybe the disappointing thing is we've tried to score straight off the draw. So Yanni's tried to drive in the net, and then we've ended up being caught in our zone. And it's just a little breakdown, and I say you've got to give them credit. They've finished the game. It's a good shot. And Ash has come here and he's set his team up to steal a game, and that's exactly what they've done. So we just got to go away, lick our wounds a little bit, learn from it, and make sure we come back and find a way to get 2 points tomorrow.
Well, it's the same team tomorrow. How are you going to approach that?
I think we've just spoke a little bit there about simplifying again, still just going to these ugly areas, trying to, that first period energy and intensity, you've got to try and play that for 60 minutes and have that last 5 minute kind of urgency around the net, and simply cut out our own little basic mistakes. If we cut out the mistakes, then we'll be okay, but you can't keep making mistakes and giving teams 2-3 goal leads and expect to win hockey games. So tomorrow it's again, test of character. We're still on home ice, there's no travel, and we've got to somehow find a way to win a game, and that's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how it can be the ugliest game in the world for me, or it can be the prettiest game. As long as we win it, I don't really care.
Well, let's hoping we're talking in 24 hours time about a 3-point weekend, Martin. Good luck.
I'm here, so thanks, Andy.